about from OpenAI for the first time. Is there anyone here who's not gotten it? If there is someone who has not gotten an OpenAI Playground invite, please comment on the chat so someone from the team is able to support you, right? Two, I hope all of you got access to the flows in the folder. If there is someone who's not gotten access, please put it in the comment. We will immediately see if we can help you out. Yeah, cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and proceed. Krishna, Tejas, anyone else who's here who sees a comment which I can't see, please let me know.
Sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Let's get started. Uh, cool. Let's start with LLM and AI. We hope that you're able to use the intelligence where needed in your flows as you need it. So here's a beautiful uh, blue sky picture to indicate the future of using AI in the way we want to use it. Some basics before we start. Um, let's just quickly understand what an LLM is. Anyone who can answer on the group what an LLM is, please go ahead on the chat. Sorry, feel free to explain what an LLM is. Imagine you're explaining it to a 5-year-old. What do you think an LLM is? If you don't know, just say no idea. That's fine too. Uh, shall I just tag someone? We have all passed exams. We've all gone to exams without knowing anything about what we are supposed to answer, and we've all come out with flying colors. I believe in you guys. You guys can do it. Just make up what do you think an LLM is. Okay, the Sabat says no idea. Fair enough. I know what it's called, but what I no idea what it means. Thank you, Saloni. If you can just expand on what you think it's called, that's good enough. Yep. Large language model. Basically, what it does is analyzes a set of text for connections. Once it analyzes the text for connections, it'll analyze the concept for connections so that it knows how to kind of, as you're talking about if you're making a sentence, it shows if you're going to say good, it knows based on the way you have typed, the options are morning, day, um, evening, depending on what you typically use. So let's say it's Gautam, it'll typically be good morning. If it is my brother, it will be good evening because he wakes up only in the evening, right? So the LLM will pick what the potential completion of the sentence is based on that. Now, two, it's also able to go beyond a simple set of words into sentences, into concepts. So if you're talking about, let's say, idli, if you're from South India, you know the next big concept in the breakfast menu answer in a very human-like manner. Sorry, it says my internet is unstable. Did I drop out?
For a little
No,
while.
right?
Can hear you.
After idli, I think we lost you for a minute.
Thanks, Salon. Basically, what I was saying is an LLM will be able to understand that if you're talking about idli, the other two concepts which you might talk about is either chutney or sambar. If you're unhealthy like me, it'll also predict vada. right? So the LLM is very powerful because it'll keep the conversations very, very human-like, right? Now, what are they good with? Understanding questions, understanding references, understanding semi-vague statements or short forms which you might be using and be able to guess and give the right answer. It might be very, very good with answering very empathetically to a question like, hey, how was your day? Right. Uh, Jeevan, I will take the question a little bit later. The It's good with kind of making some sort of simple logic, not very complex. How many of you have heard of this thing called as Operation Strawberry? If not, please do check it out. It's quite amazing about how strong they've built the logical engine for LLMs now, right? What are things it cannot do? Is this yeah, right? I've written yeah, right? Or is it yeah, right? Which one is it? You can see the next sentence in the presentation, which is what are things they cannot do? Yeah, right. How do you pronounce it? Is it a sarcastic yeah, right? Or is it just a factual yeah, right? The correct answer will get my iPhone. Immediately, I'll send it to you. Please use the chat window to take an answer. Guess. Okay, Gokul. I knew you would take a shot. Okay. What made you think it's sarcasm? If you could just unmute and share for just a minute.
Yeah, I think the comma here is sort of a pause that we give in our usual day-to-day conversational context, and also an expressional context that is involved in it, which is what I'm assuming based on, let's say, general standards of speaking, or what I think Gautam would have, how I think Gautam would have used this, setting it with that context that I'm bringing it is fantastic.
Fair enough. Very good analysis. Um, but the fact is, I had just written yeah, right? So I really didn't have any sarcasm when I wrote this. It was just factual. But that's one of the things an LLM cannot do, determine if you're being sarcastic, pick up the nuances, unless it is elaborate. Just two words, typically it will not be able to pick it up, right? Can they handle multilingual content? Definitely. Uh, an LLM is typically best trained on English. If there's anyone else who has data to indicate, otherwise, happy to stand connected because the largest script, the largest language for training has been English so far. A lot of the training has been on English. So you'll get best performance if your documents are in English, and then you let the bot answer to the user based on their language. So if someone is speaking to the bot in Hindi, but the knowledge base of your content is in English, won't be an issue, and you will experience that today, right? Um, did we not get a USD $200 credit as part of the accelerator? Anyone who remembers this? If no one remembers this, perfectly fine. We will move on. Anyone who remembers this, please unmute and say yes.
I
I
think
think
we did.
we did.
Sorry, Ansela, go
Yes.
ahead.
Yeah, I
What
think
happened
we
to
did.
the?
I'm
Okay, go
sorry.
on. Go on.
Yeah, I think we did get some amount. I'm not sure exactly how much,
Hmm.
but when we open Glyphic on top left, they
Hmm.
show the amount, and as we use it, it keeps decreasing.
Thank you. Uh, so that is your glyphic balance, your messaging balance. You were allocated 200 USD of AI credits for the month of August, which many of you did not use. Having said that, you will use some of it today during your demo, and you can continue to use it uh, for at least this coming month. Right. So let's get going. Important concepts. What does the difference between generative and predictive mean? And how do we use this? Why is this important? Anyone who wants to venture a guess? I'm just going to randomly pick people now to kind of keep the energy up, right? If you know the answer, great, give it a shot. If you don't know, feel perfectly free to say, hey, we don't know, right? I am just going to pick uh, mm, Suhail.
Oh my
Do you want to guess what a generative LLM is?
God. I have no idea at all, but what probably I think is like a generative could be something that we generate, create something new, right?
Exactly.
Predictive, I have no idea. Could be something like
No
an
worries.
analysis or something.
Sorry?
Something like an analysis, something in that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Generative is exactly what you did. You generated an answer, right? So if you want to use an LLM for storytelling, you want to use it for giving suggestions on activities, right? Let's say you have you want to use LLMs to explain uh, a concept, right? An explainer is a great way of using generative AI, LLM. So that's perfect. Predictive is where you can almost predict what it's going to say, where it's very repetitive. So if you have policies you want answers about, clarifications, right? The predictive nature of LLMs is what you will use. And in today's demo, we will show you how to use both sides of it, right? So for your use cases, how will you use it? If you want to kind of use generative LLMs for explainers, perfect. You have a knowledge base, which is talking about the kind of work you do, but you want it to answer questions about their impact which you've had so far, then you'll use something which is more predictive, not something which is generative, right? So this will be the differences in their use case. And we hope that you will be in the hands-on section, be able to explore the difference between the two, right? We have given you a set of flows. The one which says 2024 demo open AI file search is what you'll be using to kind of explore both of these two, right? Uh, would you guys want examples or would you want to get straight hands-on and then we come back to examples if you have time? Let's get started, right?
GP, we have Suhail from FIO Foundation asking for some examples. Maybe like a quick example and then moving with me.
So, okay, why don't you guys save this number? You must be having the chatbot number which you used to apply for the accelerator. I'm just going to share the number again. Yeah, the number is 86570 48982, right? In case you already have it, great. If you don't, please just save it. 86570 48982, right? Please send this message save this number on your phone, open WhatsApp, and send a message to it saying empathy, right? I'll also do this along with you guys so that if you hit any issues. So if you hit empathy, the question it will ask is, how's your day going? Feel free to be brutally honest about how your day is going. If it's boring, say it's boring. If it's troubling, say it's troubling. If it's brilliant, brilliant. If you want to use it as a chance to complain about a fictitious person or a real person, go for it. And then tell me, how did the bot answer? Right. Anyone who's not been able to get a response when you type the word empathy, just unmute. We will help you out immediately. Anyone who's not gotten it working? I will repeat in Hindi, just to be uh, aware. And तो अभी इस नंबर को सेव कर लीजिए और उसको व्हाट्सएप पे एक मैसेज भेज दीजिए, एम्पैथी, one word, EMP. I'll just type it also on the chat. Right? एम्पैथी भेज दीजिए और बोलिए कि कैसे रिस्पॉन्ड किया। वो पूछेगा कि आपका दिन कैसा चल रहा है, कैसे चल रहा है, लिख लीजिए। I have written to the bot saying I have had the worst day of my life, which is not true, and says, I'm really sorry you're feeling this way, but I'm unable to provide help that you need. It's really important to talk things over with someone who can, though, such a, like a mental health professional or a trusted person in your life. Did you get a similar empathetic response? Thank you, Saloni. It's gone ahead and given you advice. It's definitely not given me advice. I don't think it likes me. Anjana? Anyone with a positive? Thank you, Gokul. I think the bot senses the sarcastic side of your humor and has kind of responded accordingly. Anyone who's surprised with the response? This is generative AI at its best. The prompt was listen to the user's response on how their day went and respond empathetically, and then ask them how their class went. Right? So at some point, it'll bring you back and say, how did your class go? But you say your day was great, it'll respond saying great. So if you want to try it out, try empathy again, and then this time give the opposite of how you felt. Right? Another example of um, mental health is another example of how you can experience mm, generative AI. It's basically a role play between a therapist and a person. So if you want, go ahead and type mental health and see how that experience goes. All right. In another 3 minutes, we will move on to the next bit. But if anyone is having issues with the mental health flow, please let us know. When you type mental health, which is one word, I must. That's the word you should type on WhatsApp. It will say, hi, my name is Dev. I'm a counselor. What you share with me will stay between us. How can I help you today? Right. If anyone is not able to follow along, please let me know. I will re-explain.
Gautam, one challenge I'm facing is when I type, for example, the previous one, empathy, there was some delay in me responding.
Okay.
The conversation ended. So is it like there is a particular time before the conversation completely ends, like it stopped responding?
No,
Maybe it's
there is
happening
no
once.
such, yeah, there's no such time delay. I think there's a delay in you getting the message? Did you get this? I'm here to help. What's been causing you stress lately?
Yeah, this was mental health. If you go about empathy, right? So, for
Mhm.
example, I mentioned passport work done. Thankfully, there were no challenges faced, so I'm happy. After that, there was
The
no.
demo, yeah, the demo just ends with it's built for only one message, which is how's your day going?
Okay, understood.
Cool. On that note, um, if you have any questions, I'll take questions. We've not gone into the concepts. We'll do the concepts on the actual OpenAI playground. If you have any questions so far, I'll pause 2 minutes. Feel free to ask. I'm just going to randomly call a few people out. Um, the objective is just to kind of understand if you have any questions. If not, we can go ahead. I know there's one question by um, Jeevanji. I'll hold on to that because the next section you will see that uh, in action, right? Um, CSI Amitji, do you have any questions? Okay. Jaimala Balsarafji, do you have any questions? Jaren Thomas, any questions? Muraji, any questions? Okay. Ishita Akshita from SLF, any questions?
None at the moment.
Awesome. Cool. So let's get hands-on. We wanted to kind of spend a little bit time talking about how RGM is using uh, GPT vision, but you will experience that again yourself. So let's get hands-on. Could all of you please open the OpenAI playground? Is
GP
it visible
Saloni
on my screen?
has a quick question.
A quick one, Gautam, is just around
Yeah.
generative and predictive LLM, and if we can use them together, or is it that it's either or situation?
Um, so it's a good question. I would say you can, as long as you break it up into modules, right? So let's say you are going to use generative AI to ask, and Saloni, why don't you just tell the listeners in just 2 or 3 words what you do as an org, so that way I can use that as an example to say how you can use both.
Sure. So, hi everyone. This is Saloni from Dhriti. So, we build entrepreneurship mindsets specifically for resilience in communities, which can be women from ultra poor communities and Sangam Vihar, etc., or young people in Assam or Northeast communities very quickly. And we do that in various different ways. One of the use cases we are building with Glific is to build accounting and saving habits amongst women entrepreneurs, micro entrepreneurs that we are working with.
Perfect. Thank you, Saloni. So let's say you're going to use OpenAI, the generative side of thing, to kind of, you won't ask the women how their day is going, so you can empathize. It's a conversation starter, right? It also builds a set of a kind of sense of warmth, camaraderie. So let's say you want to use the same empathy logic, right, which you experienced. So your first question is, hey, how's your day going? So when the women say hi, this is the response the bot gives them. They say, हाँ, दिन ठीक चल रहा है, बहुत काम है, आ, बुखार भी है थोड़ा, so शरीर में दर्द है, right? The generative AI will come and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." सुनने के लिए बहुत, I don't know, my Hindi is bad, so I'm so sorry to hear this. I do hope you feel better. Do you want to quickly go about and tell us how much you have earned today and how much you spent so that we can record your expenses and your income, and then you can go and rest, right? That's generative AI. They will enter the thing, and let's say they have one question in between. And their question is, if I have lent money to my daughter for something, is it an expense? What is the correct answer, Saloni? Is it an expense?
It will be a different row itself, which is loan.
Mhm.
But for
Okay.
now, for women entrepreneurs, they can keep it as an expense, and then when it comes back, they can say it's an income.
Perfect. This part will be something which is very predictive because you'll want the LLM to give the same response to people again and again,
Yeah.
right? So you use a predictive. Uh, you. I'm going to use the word predictive here. Right now, how we'll do it, I'm not getting into. I'll show you how we can do that. But you will use a predictive setup to make sure that the responses the LLM gives at that point is very, very predictive, repeatable, and testable. So at that point, you'll use predictive,
Got it.
right?
Yeah.
Then let's say they have a question which is an explainer. Budget क्या है? फायदा क्या है? There you might want to keep it slightly generative so that based on who the user is, their context, it'll use an example based on their hobby
Yeah.
and explain. So there you'll use generative again. So you can use mix of both.
But
The
with
beauty was used, sorry?
yeah, but with a very clear module, as you said, that makes sense.
Yeah, right? And the beauty with something like Glific is that it allows you to create notes. And because you can call a LLM in each node with a assistant tag to it, you can give it a very different function, one being generative, one being predictive. So you can use it, mix and match as you require.
ठीक है.
Any other questions before we go on?
No, thank you, Gautam.
Awesome. Thank you. So you can see my screen.
Yep.
Do all of you, when you logged in, did you see Project Tech for Dev here? It should not say my personal or default project. Anyone who's seeing something else apart from Project Tech for Dev in the first part of the where my mouse is, please let us know. This is important because for the rest of today's session, you will be using this. If there is someone who is not following what I'm saying, please stop me because we are here to make sure that you walk away with something meaningful today. So there's no right, there's no wrong question, there's no stupid question. Everything is a valid question for today, right? I hope you see this, right? It should just say default project. You will see playground, dashboard. This will be your icon, right? You will see playground left on the menu on the left, which is chat, assistant, TTS, completions. You will see a chat window. You will see something called as functions with a button, response format, temperature, and a chat window here, right? I hope all of you can see the same. And now let's get on. All of you have some document you've brought in, right? Which is about your work. Anyone who doesn't, please take a minute to get it from your Google Drive. You can bring in any document just to test. Cool. So first thing, let's look at how to create an assistant. Anjana, you are not able to get this page. I had accepted the invite. Anybody else apart from Anjana who's having this issue? Okay, Varun. Varun, did you get the invite or have you not got the invite? Okay.
Sorry, I
What I'm
missed
going to
in
do.
the beginning. I didn't get the invite. I have to check with
Mhm.
Jobin. Jobin also said that he didn't get
We
the
sent it
invite.
to Alex.
Yeah,
Let me do
Alex
this right
just
away.
messaged me saying he got the invite at 11:30 today.
Yeah. Varun, what's your mail ID? Can you just put it in the chat window? I'm going to give you access right away. Varun at.
I'll just put.
So, Jeevanshi, could you also please put your mail ID? Guys, I'm so sorry. I'll just take 2 minutes to quickly sort this. Thank you, Varun. Copy. Please check your inbox, Varun. You will have gotten it. Jeevanshi, can you please send me your mail ID? Yeah, thank you. Copy. Awesome. Jeevanji, you also would have gotten access. Anjana, uh, when you uh, when you click on this, when you open the link after you accepted it and signed in, does it say personal or default project, or does it say project tech for dev, default project? Anjana, can you please?
Yeah, yeah. So after I pressed accept invite, it just says this invite was already accepted, and
Okay,
and that's it. It says, "Oops, this invite was already accepted."
fair enough. When you log in, what does it show you?
Login. I have to go to OpenAI, right?
Yeah. You have to go to the platform.openai.com, or just say
Yeah.
OpenAI assistants.
Okay. Login. Oh, I can log in with my account, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks.
Yeah. So it looks
Got
like
it. Got
everyone
it.
has access. I'm just going to give Razia access, and we are on our way on how to use this. Settings, members, invite, Razia. Oops. Cool. So now Razia also has this. So first thing you want to do is, as soon as you get the access, you open this up. Always make sure Project Tech for Dev is selected as the first option here, and then default project. Click on dashboards. You will see this interface. We will not go into the details today, right? We'll keep it simple so that we get a large understanding, and then you can play around. Once you come to this page, you will see a set of assistants here. An assistant is basically a bot which is being trained on your content. Do not delete any of the assistants because we are given all of you access. Always work only on your assistant, right? A good way of naming an assistant will be your name or your initials followed by your organization, followed by what the assistant does. So that way you know exactly which of your assistants you're using, right? So I'm just going to go here, say create, and you guys can follow along if you want, right? Right now, when you say create, it'll open up this window where it says an assistant ID. The name will be blank. Like I said, give it a name which is easy to remember. So in this case, I'm going to use GP. That's me underscore Glific. That's my organization underscore testing the assistant, right? Once you give it a name, you'll see a name coming up instead of untitled assistant. I'm just going to give you 30 seconds for all of you to do this.
Gautam, can you just go again and explain?
So the first thing we're going to yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh,
Thanks.
Okay, the first thing we want to do is create our own assistant in the in this space. So go ahead, hit create. This side will become blank. It'll give some assistant ID with a blank name. So put in your initials, put in your organization name, and put in a name for the assistant. So that way, of all the assistants which is there in the space, you will be able to find out which one is yours. So for example, Gokul has said GK underscore Madi hyphen info, or it says Rakshak SLF, right? So the minute you name it, you clearly know that you're going to be using your assistant and not somebody else's. Right? So this is step one. Right now, we're going to leave instructions blank. I'll tell you what it is. I hope you guys are able to do this. I see assistants getting created. I know for sure, thanks to naming convention, at least two of you are done with this, which is Madi and SLF. I know Creator has done it in the past. Others who have an issue, please put a message on the chat saying, I need help, and somebody from the team will help you. All right. Next thing which I want you to do is enable file search, which is this toggle here. Click on files. You will see a pop-up like this coming. Click on upload and put in one file which you want to put into the knowledge file, right? You can, for today's demo, use PDF, doc, text. I had asked you guys to create a document. So go ahead and download that as a docx file and put that in here, right? But ideally, the best performance is from a file format called as Markdown. We will explain what Markdown is later after you're able to run your own demo, right? Once you do this, there is something known as advanced option where there's something called as chunking. We will not use all of that. So you just have to hit attach. The minute you say attach, a vector store is created. Right? You can see a vector store, which is like I'm simplifying it, like a database for this particular file which you have put in is created and it's stored there. And now you can basically chat using this model. Using the content via this model. So for example, let me just go to playground. In the playground, I'm going to click assistant. In the assistant, I'm going to go to the top where you see this drop down and say, I want to test GP underscore Glific underscore testing the bot. There is no instruction it's been given apart from the default. You are a helpful assistant. I can now chat with the knowledge file which I put saying, summarize the knowledge base in it'll go through the file which is there and it'll try to summarize this in 150 words. I will pause. I would want you to try it with your own knowledge file. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Happy to help.
Gautam, I have some questions.
Mhm.
So
Go ahead,
once I created the assistant,
Mhm.
I'm able to see it on the right-hand side.
Okay.
I mean, left-hand side. But when I
Mhm.
click on it, it says no assistant found with ID.
Have you given it a name?
Yeah, AB underscore go dreams underscore assistant.
Okay. So I'm just going to come here. Is it still, for example, once you give it a name, can you just click outside the box so that that green box goes away?
Yeah, it has gone. I'm outside the box.
Can you see the assistant ID on top or in the bottom?
Yes.
What is the assistant ID?
So once I clicked on create, it has come to, I mean, I see it on the left-hand side. I see my assistant ID is ASST underscore J8MK.
Just a minute. Which is 7. I'm just going to find it. Okay, Command F, J8, not found.
MK.
Okay.
Oh,
J8,
not found.
MK.
MK. Yeah.
Okay. Are you sure you're in the same project as us?
Project Tech for Dev. Yeah. Yeah. I see Dhriti, I see SMF, I see other.
Perfect. Then you're in the right place. Could you just
Rakshak.
refresh your screen? Just
Oh yeah,
Command F or
yeah.
Command R so that it refreshes and let's see if it comes up. So for the others, anyone having issues? Is it working? Are you able to kind of get responses from your bot?
गौतम
Yeah.
एक बार फिर से बताओगे प्लीज?
So पहले हम क्या करेंगे, इस एक्सरसाइज का उद्देश्य क्या है, हम जो नॉलेज बेस प्रिपेयर किए हैं वो डॉक्यूमेंट, उसको यूज करके हमारा बॉट उसको पढ़ के यूजर को कैसे रेस्पॉन्ड कर सकते हैं वो अभी हम सीख रहे हैं, राइट। सो पहला स्टेप क्या होता है, आप ये डैशबोर्ड जो है, डैशबोर्ड आके क्रिएट बटन दबाइए। जब आप क्रिएट द बटन दबाते हैं, ऐसे एक नया असिस्टेंट क्रिएट हो जाता है जहां उसका नाम एम्प्टी है। मेरा सजेशन है आपका इनिशियल्स अंडरस्कोर आपका संस्था अंडरस्कोर बॉट का नाम लिख लीजिए, ताकि सबको पता चल जाता है कि वो किसका है। सो आप यू विल यूज ओनली योर्स, यू विल नॉट यूज लेट्स से यू विल यूज फॉर एग्जांपल धृति का असिस्टेंट, राइट। यू विल नॉट यूज एनी अदर असिस्टेंट्स। वंस वो होने के बाद फाइल सर्च ऑन कर लीजिए। इधर प्लस फाइल्स दिख रहा है रजिया जी?
या
ये प्रेस करके क्लिक टू अपलोड प्रेस करके जो वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट आपने बनाया है वो सेलेक्ट कर लीजिए। इफ यू हैव नॉट मेड एनी फाइल, जो वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट है पुराना वाला, कहाँ से डजेंट मैटर, कौन कौन सा डॉक्यूमेंट है, वो डॉक्यूमेंट सेलेक्ट करके अपलोड कर लीजिए।
ओके
अपलोड होने के बाद यू विल सी ए न्यू थिंग, इधर वेक्टर स्टोर है ना, ये वेक्टर स्टोर आएगा आपका असिस्टेंट का नाम यूज करके, वेक्टर स्टोर फॉर असिस्टेंट। वेलकम।
ओके
ये होने के बाद आप प्लेग्राउंड क्लिक कर लीजिए। मेन्यू में टॉप में डैशबोर्ड था, अभी डैशबोर्ड सेक्शंस में थे आप, अभी हम जा रहे हैं प्लेग्राउंड।
प्लेग्राउंड
सो क्लिक ऑन प्लेग्राउंड। प्लेग्राउंड में आया तो यू विल सी समथिंग लाइक दिस। So you click on assistant, which is on the left side menu.
ओके
Then this pop-up will come. Here, the first one is actually a drop down. ये drop down select करके pick your assistant,
ओके थैंक यू
right? Once you do that, you leave the instruction blank. You make sure your file search is selected, and you ask the bot one question, right? For people who have already done this, ask the same question multiple times and see if the answer is the same,
ओके
right? If it is different, please put on the message on the chat window saying different. If it is the same answer which you got, word to word, then say same.
ओके थैंक यू गौतम
No problem, Razia. So I'm also doing this on screen so you guys can see it. If you hit enter, it will go to the next line. So you'll have to hit command enter or you'll have to click the run button. Right? So this is run number 1. Now I'm going to try it again. Same question I copied. So if you see the way it's responded for me, the first time it said document provides guidelines for viability gap fund intended to support model cluster level federations. The second time it said it was issued by the Ministry of Rural Development, government, blah, blah, blah. So there's a difference in the way it is answering the same question because I copy pasted. Anybody else? Thank you, Saloni. You do see a difference in the wording, right? Now what I want you to do is, anyone who has questions, please let me know. Anyone who has not gotten this so far, please raise your hand. It's very important that we get this working today. Now,
Gautam,
what I
I
want,
have a
yeah.
question. Is
Mhm.
this predictive or generative? Like,
Did the answer different? Was the answer different between both times?
yeah.
Okay, so right now it's being generative. Now I want you to follow exactly what I'm doing on the screen. You can see my screen, right? Where it
Yes.
says file search, scroll down. You will come to this section where it says temperature. Can all of you see temperature? When you see temperature, make it as close to zero as possible, which is, I'm going to make it 0.005. Now copy the same question which you had asked and ask it 2 times, one after the other, and see how much of a difference there is this time round, right? So I've asked it once. I'm going to ask the same question again. You will see that this time round, it will give more or less very, very similar answer. Much, much more similar than what it was before. Anyone who doesn't see this, please let me know. I'm going to randomly pick 3 people to check if this is going fine. Uh, Anyone from Child Survival India, Amit ji, anyone there? How is it going? Are you able to get the demo working? Okay. I see Abhijata Sen. Abhijata Sen, is this going fine for you? Okay. Subham?
Going well, Gautam. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Shiva, since you joined a bit late, are you able to catch up? Are you able to see what's happening on the screen? If you need some time, just let us know. We are happy to kind of check in a little bit later. Um, Varun?
No issue. It just took a little more time saying retrieval, getting retrieval, but
Uh,
after a
okay.
minute or two, it came.
Okay. And did you try the temperature setting where you made it as close to zero?
Yeah, after that, it got stuck at getting retrieval for about a minute or two. Then
Okay.
it showed the same response.
Fine. Just try now, take it as close to the opposite side, 1. So right now, when you take it as close to zero as possible, you're making the responses predictive. When you take it as close to 1 as possible, you will make it, or greater than 1, you're going to make it as generative as possible, right? So try the other extreme as well, right? I'll take questions. Abhineet, sorry.
Okay. For some reason, I'm not able.
Abhineet, for some reason, you're not able to.
Yeah, no, I'm not able to see the assistance response on the thread. I see 526 tokens being generated, but I don't see.
Just
So,
refresh your browser. I think you should start seeing it, right? Now, what we're going to do is
thank you.
slightly, got it? Awesome, right? Now we're going to play around a bit. We're going to change uh, tracks, right? All of you imported, yeah, Tejas?
Yeah, I'll just make one. I mean, like I'm little bit OCD for the terms. So the temperature is very, very important, and you can think of temperature as if you want to, like be able to get like like just the to understand this temperature wala thing. imagine as you increase the temperature, the AI model gets more and more random to generate answer. So more and more creative. It can like, and creativity is at cost of sometimes factual information. So as you increase the temperature, it can get more creative, but there will be some loss of facts. As you make the temperature like closer to zero, it tries to be as factual as possible. So think of it in that way. Normal recommendation is, since you're using your file search, आप अपना files provide कर रहे हैं, so keep it as close to zero, just like put 0.000001, put some value like that, so that you know that you're using it, like it's not creating something. It's like you have made it in such a way that it is always trying to be as factual as possible. Just, yeah, with that, I'll leave with that.
Thank you, Tejas. Anyone has any questions about what Tejas said? We'll quickly answer. Now we're going to go and actually connect ChatGPT to your own chatbot. Right? Are you guys ready for that now? You had been given a flow called as 2024 demo underscore mental health. I hope all of you have imported it. Once you import it, I want you to come to this node, which says call webhook, file search hyphen GPT. Click on this. On the top right, you have something called as function body. I want you to click on function body. You will see something like this, which is question assistant ID. Where it says assistant ID, I want you guys to go to your assistant, right? Let's say this is my assistant. Below the name, you will see an assistant ID. So click on it, it'll auto copy. Go to this flow, paste it here. Say okay. You will see another webhook here, which says file search underscore 2. Click on that. Again, go to function body. Leave everything else the same. Again, replace the assistant ID here with whatever is your assistant ID. Paste it. Say okay. Publish it. Trigger it for yourself and ask the same question. You should be now able to interact with the knowledge file on ChatGPT via your bot. After this, we'll pause for 3 concepts, right? I would want you guys to do this. If you have any issue, please unmute and ask us. We'll help you. I hope my screen was visible for all of you guys.
Hey, Gautam.
Yeah. Anjana?
After we change the assistant ID in the call webhook, then after that, which one did we
Publish it.
change?
So I wanted to change it for both the webhooks,
Oh, okay.
right? Once you do that, publish it. Once you publish it, whatever is a keyword, trigger the flow for yourself. You know how to do that, right? Or if you want to preview it, you can also preview it. The reason why we took this approach is that I wanted you guys to see how the assistant will respond to you. So you have a rough idea of what kind of question to ask and what a response could be. Now that you've done it in the OpenAI playground, we will now connect it to your own chatbot through the imported flow, which is 2024 demo mental health. You should now be able to ask the same question which you asked on the OpenAI playground to the bot through your chatbot, and you should be able to receive the response similarly on WhatsApp. If that is happening, then this is your first shot at an AI-enabled chatbot. Congratulations. How many of you got a response on your bot? Just do a please do a raise of hands. We have two raises of hands. Saloni, practice easy, Abhineet. Thank you, guys.
Gautam, I have a question.
Yes. Go ahead, Anjana. Thank you, Gladia.
Correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong. So,
Mhm.
so what the AI is doing right now, what the chatbot is doing right now is that it is reading my file that I uploaded, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, one very clear thing. We have not put any limitations, right? If you remember this window in Assistant, we have not given any additional instructions apart from just you are a helpful assistant. So it might go outside as well. Primarily, it'll read your document. But however, if you ask it who is the president of India, it'll answer because there's no guideline so far. The prompt is not there.
So it is just reading a document and trying to answer to what I've asked, is it?
At
Like
this
any
point, yes.
Oh, okay.
Apart from just being told that you have to be helpful,
Mm-hmm.
the AI assistant has got no instructions. Tejas, you want to add?
Yeah, right now that instruction is also not there. You're a helpful assistant. It is just, how do you say, like,
Oh,
right now that instruction is
empty.
also not there. Yeah. And so glad sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but yeah, essentially that's so it is like, so briefly, what's happening in the background is whatever question you type, it is matching, like something like, okay, so if you have provided documents about, let's say, agriculture of, like anything related to paddy and let's say agriculture of paddy, and you ask it question about harvesting, so it will try to, so it'll, based on whatever input you have given in your question, it will try to match something from the knowledge base, and depending on then you can give like lot of instructions on, like, so, and so instruction or prompt is like one important aspect of how you want the LLM to generate the answer. So right now you have not, basically with this we can, so essentially, yeah, it'll take your question, it'll try to match with, okay, if the word harvesting exists, then it'll look for information related to harvesting and nearabouts of that topic, and it'll create an question answer. So in like to in most cases, like, as the question gets more and more specific and detailed, then the answer will get better and better. Yeah. And yeah, I hope.
So like I have another like just follow-up question.
Yeah.
So how how when we use the normal chat GPT, we give it prompts, right? Like how Gautam was given it instructions. So
Yeah.
when as a user, when I'm chatting with the bot, if I give these instructions and these instructions are not present, and the admin has left the instructions blank, would it answer however I'm asking it to answer?
No, so yeah, it won't, like, so instruction is a very, very important part. So ideally, like, so instruction is nothing but prompt, and prompt engineering is what you can do through this instruction window. We'll also share some more details on like the best practices in prompt engineering. We can share it with you in the document. So we'll share a PPT, and within it, there's like a specific place where you can get a lot of details on this one. But yeah, essentially, like, so you can think about it like, LLM is someone, like, imagine a kid who has learned to speak English or any other language. The vector story is a way that, okay, you have given, okay, like, you know how to speak English, now mug up this entire book, and you have given that. And the instruction is when you're teaching, like when you're telling the kid how to answer the question, answer in a polite way, answer in a sarcastic way, answer only in 10 sentences, answer in elaborate way, answer in bulleted formats. If follow these examples and answer in this similar way. So you can do a bunch of stuff using instructions, and that's essentially what prompt engineering is. But yeah, so
So
Anjana, to simplify your answer, you when you create an assistant, you have to make sure you give good prompt, and ideally you should include an expert, like a line which says, do not politely decline to answer if the question is out of context of the provided knowledge base. Something to
Right.
that degree, yeah.
Got it. So my doubt was that as a user, so can I give prompts to the chatbot?
No, you can't. You can't give
Okay.
as a user, like as a person, as a beneficiary who's asking questions to your chatbot.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
then you can't. Only
Okay.
admin. Yeah.
And what I'll do now is just I'm going to build on this particular point. Thank you for asking this question, Anjana. And I'm going to build on this, right? Like Tejas was saying, the instructions is where you write a prompt for the overall assistant. So in my case, my prompt is you are a policy expert who only knows knowledge in this document. Answer in bulleted format. Politely decline if the answer is outside the scope of the document or knowledge base, right? I've done this. This is my prompt. Now, for the prompt to work, it also requires a question. And the question is actually coming when you type, right? This is being saved as a question. And if you see the function body, the question is @results.question. So whatever you have typed here is what is being sent. So your question could be summarize the document. It'll say summarize the document as the question. It'll then go to the assistant. The assistant will say, okay, my instruction is this. So it'll add that saying, okay, I'm a policy expert who knows only this document. I have to answer in bulleted format. I'll politely decline if the answer is outside the scope of the document or the knowledge base. Okay, what's the question? The question is to summarize the document. Now it will generate a response and send it back to the bot, which you will get here as what we put here in this box, right? @result.filesearch.message. You'll get it here. Anyone who's not gotten the response so far, please let us know. We have done two things now. We've covered what's an instruction or a prompt, what's a concept, a question, right? We've shown you how the flow works, and we've shown you how to link your AI to your bot. Anyone who's not gotten this so far, please let us know.
I hadn't published it and I was just trying it as a preview on the platform itself. However, I'm not getting a response. Do I still need to publish it in order
You
for
need
it to
to
run?
publish it. You
Okay,
need to
okay.
publish it,
Thanks. Okay.
right? Cool. So now this is done. I just want to quickly show you this. The second file search has one thing which is very important called as thread ID. Thread ID is where it remembers the conversation, what you have asked so far, and responds with context to that. This has to be something which auto-assigns, so leave it as it is. What that means is for your users who are interacting with your bot, the AI element, the AI will remember what the previous questions were and interact based on that. Yeah. So I'll pause with file search related AI. Do you guys want to do another type of AI? Or if you think that this is quite heavy, we'll pause now and we'll kind of take a break if you want.
Can we pause and just try it a couple of times? I'm trying to
Sure.
just understand. Yeah,
So,
thanks.
anybody else who has got a different opinion?
I think we can pause and look at the other AI in a minute. But also, Gautam, just a very quick question. So for the knowledge-based document or whatever format we sort of upload, which becomes a knowledge base, is there any good practice around how long should it be? Like you specifically asked us to ensure it's a two-pager and not more than that. So was there a reason behind it? Should we ensure that when we are creating something for our own Glific thingy, then should be only limited to these many pages?
No.
It can be
No.
as long as possible as we want.
Yes. Yes.
And
The
it
only
can
reason why, go on, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So it can also be an Excel sheet where we might have multiple women entrepreneurs. For example, if some women micro entrepreneur wants to know, do I have do we have women entrepreneurs around me in a particular radius, you know? And then we have this Excel sheet with their Google Pin locations and all of that. So even will that, something like that will work, or that's
Excellent question. Excellent question. Now, if you ask an LLM, including ChatGPT, where am I? It will not know how to answer. You ask it the length or the distance between Amritsar and Delhi, it will be able to answer,
Got it. Yeah, of course.
right? So you will have to format your uh, data differently, where let's say you have women entrepreneurs details and maybe a pin code. And if they ask the question saying, are there any women entrepreneurs around me? And if you're stored in your chatbot at the rate contact dot users pin code, right? And then it will be able to compare and say, oh, pin code of the user is, let's say, 1001111. And then it'll look for in the knowledge base if there are anyone else in the same pin code and say, these are the people there.
Got it. Cool. Perfect. Take care. Thank you.
Yeah. Tejas, you want to add?
Yeah, and your other part of your question was like, what's the good length of knowledge base? It can be any length, but think of knowledge base as text documents. So because it's a language model, the best input for it to, like the best input is large, chunks of text. Text means like just paragraphs of information, paragraphs or pages of information. Ideally, it can't understand images. Like if you when you upload it to vector data store, like what the uploading step you do, the images won't it won't be able to process images in that step. So if you have a PDF document with a lot of images and like the text is referring to some image inside the thing, then you can think that okay, this is not like the best knowledge base. It can still take it, but it just won't give you those results. Second, tabular information is not the best for LLMs. Like we can't give it like a spreadsheet of like huge information and for it to then understand and answer from there. So that like OpenAI themselves claim on, you can see it on the website, that tabular information, like CSV format or Sheets format, those are not the best, like kind of knowledge base. So think of how if you have some lot of tabular information, if there's a way for us, like there is a way for you to convert it into like, and if you want to answer from that tabular information, it will be best to convert it into like paragraphs or in some way. So just those two are the main thing. Yeah. The main thing is like, imagine like if you have to give a document, like it's a language model. Like I said, it's a kid who has learned to speak and mimic human language really well. But comprehension is like they might think, yeah, it might come off as it is very intelligent because it has mugged up a lot of information, but intelligence is still fairly low. The algorithm is like it's designed to just mimic human speech.
Got it. Got it. Take it. Thanks. Thanks, Tejas.
Yeah. So what we'll do now is, I think it is a lot of things we have covered so far. We have covered you have learned how to use OpenAI Playground to create assistants. You learned how to write in a very rudimentary way to write prompt. You learned how to use temperature. You learned how to upload files, right? You have learned how to connect it to your chatbot. You learned where to change the assistant ID in your chatbot to make it interact with the knowledge you have uploaded. You have to change it in two nodes. In one node, there's something called as thread ID that you leave as it is, right? Now you have learned this, you will be able to edit the chatbot text to make it functional for yourself and try out AI on your bots. I had another thing where there was a GPT vision demo, but that's quite obvious and self-explanatory in the image in the flow. The flow's name is called 2024 GPT Vision demo underscore GPT Vision. If you see that flow, actually, let me show it on the screen. You will see something like what you can see on my screen, where it's asking for an image. The wait for response is making sure it's an image, right? If it is anything then apart, if it's anything apart from an image, it says please share a photo, waits for you to share a photo, then says make sure it has an image. Then it goes to this particular webhook where it will call in the function body the image URL with a prompt. So in this case, the prompt is here. And the prompt is extract objects in this image, extract text. What does it mean? Respond in the user's language, which is @contact.language, right? It gives you a response. So feel free to play around with it. We have also given you in the same flow, though disconnected, a example of how you can use GPT Vision for agriculture for some sort of HR-based function where it can count the number of people in an object. Are they engaged? Are in the photo? Are they engaged? Are they not? A storytelling vision based on what Sauramandala does, right? Um, uh, Gladinia, if you don't mind, can you just unmute and share in few words what is Sauramandala doing in Meghalaya with culture and how you're having comics to kind
Yes.
of, yeah, could you?
Can you hear me? My team TFFP is currently making contextual storybooks for the three regions of Meghalaya. And so we have all of the books available in English and the three local languages. And we have them published online, and we're currently publishing them, trying to publish them physical copies of them as well. So we have contextual stories that we gathered from the localities, from places that are very hard to reach, and we have made them child friendly, and we're trying to get them in different like areas like bookstores and libraries and schools, etc.
Thank you. Building on what she said, imagine you are an Anganwadi teacher or a primary school teacher who has to use this storybook to tell a story, or you want to use it to kind of tell a story using objects around you, right? What you do is in this particular demo, you pick which culture you want to kind of harp on or which region. Um, then you share the photo of the comic or an object around you. The GPT Vision prompt is fairly detailed. It kind of considers the culture category. It kind of uses that to kind of pull up elements from that particular culture or region based on the objects you have shared and tell how a story and suggest how a story can be told, right? Please feel free to play around with this. On this note, I will pause for any larger questions. Else, maybe today we can pause so you can try and get back to us with any questions you have left. If you have any questions on GPT Vision, feel free to ask now.
I have a question. I don't know if it's
Mhm.
yeah.
Go for
So
it. Go for it.
yeah. So this is related to the temperature.
Mhm.
So we have it from like 0 to 2.
Mhm.
So even if imagine I set it to 2, which means
Mhm.
it's becoming, I mean, it has it'll be as generative and as creative as it can get. So in
Correct.
that case, even if I ask a question, it can answer however it wants to. It will not really pick up things from the document. Is that right?
So if your instruction is saying use the knowledge base, then it'll tell a very creative response using your knowledge base. If your instruction in the
Right.
assistant window is blank, then
Okay.
it'll do whatever it wants. So therefore, you putting an instruction is the next important step
Right.
when you're
So
creating the assistant.
right here, you've written in the instruction that politely decline to answer if the question is outside the
Yes.
scope, right?
Yes.
So when we put that in instructions,
Mhm.
does the AI or GPT, does it restrict itself to like not give an answer?
Let's find out.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's still okay. Okay, got it. It's still I think instructions. It's still listening to the instructions in this case.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Thanks.
On that note, Krishna, do you want to run the? Oh yeah, sorry, I have two very, very important things to tell you guys. We have a level up coming up. It's a great level up. I'm sure all of you have gotten the invite for it.
GP, sorry, can I jump in here?
Sure, sure.
So Level Up is a webinar which it's a monthly webinar that we conduct with our existing set of NGOs every month. So that will be on different topics. It ranges from the new features that come on Glific. Sometimes it's also like we bring in external experts who can talk on the topics which existing NGOs can benefit from. So after like this is our last accelerator webinar before the demo day, which I'll share more details. This is the last webinar. Next month onwards, you will be getting the Level Up webinar invites, which we would highly recommend you to join. Even this month's Level Up webinar, which we thought like will be very helpful for you, it's on. We are bringing a behavioral science expert, like who will be speaking on how can you use chatbot to build habit in people? Like how can you influence behaviors in people through chatbot? So it's conducted by a behavioral science expert called Sri Lakshmi from Consulting. We'll be sending you out an email for that to register. It's on 26th of September. So that's one announcement we have. The second announcement we have is we are doing a demo day. So that would be kind of your graduation day for the accelerator cohort. It's happening on 4th October, like initial 4th, yeah, 4th or 6th October, but it was initially planned for 30th September, but it's a Monday. We thought it's not a great day. So please invite your team members, your leadership, anybody whom you think can like to be on the call. The agenda is majorly to celebrate what you have done or learned till now. We'll also be having few NGO spotlights, like a few NGOs who have done exceptional work during pilot present about it so that you all can learn from each other. So that's a space majorly for celebration and learning from each other. I will also be sending you an invite for that. Yes, that's pretty much it. So before you ask more questions to GP, I'll quickly throw a poll. Can you please answer? It will be very helpful for us to make things better for you in future. Meanwhile, if you have questions for GP, you can continue asking.
Thanks, Abhineet. Tejas, do you have any examples with function calling?
Any sample flows with some function calling, voice, speech to text function call to extract specific. Abhijit, we can connect separately. You can use voice. A function call, it's a slightly different thing. Maybe we can understand what is your requirement, and yeah, maybe you can share. Maybe you can use the Discord channel to share in detail like what is your like what exactly you want to extract. You don't need function call if you want to extract information from the voice note that is shared. But yeah, we can like if you can share in the in your support channel like with detail about how exactly you're planning to use it. Someone, yeah, I'll help you out.
Sure, I'll do that. I'll actually speak with you directly. I mean, I know the other ways of having results extracted. I'm not talking about that. Let's I'm just assuming for a fact that a teacher in my case can just go ahead and converse a set of sentences maybe where she's talking about I want to select from a particular textbook, particular chapter, particular exercise, and a set of questions. Now, if it were all in English all the time, I can write for myself locally and extract results from it. So similarly, I was just wondering if it would be worth a try. I mean, I would probably want to try that in doing a function call so that all these could be just JSON extracted and the dictionary could just be passed on.
So the from what I know, function call is it'll extract. Suppose your teacher says, like create like give me lesson plan of ninth standard for science for this chapter. So there are like ninth standard science and chapter name. These are the three important information. So it will just create it into how do you say like
A
so
JSON.
yeah, and you can do that with prompting also. Function call is to then actually I don't know like I think I'll have to just read up once again, but I think it calls that function also and then does some other thing to in another thing. But yeah, like you can if you give few examples you can consistently get JSON output with
Yeah, I
prompt
mean,
engineering only.
absolutely. I mean, I've been doing a bunch of prompt engineering. Prompt engineering does not really work with a slightly more complex, right? I have, let's say, 5 questions with a particular text. I mean, I think it's a little outside of the scope of this particular conversation. So maybe we'll just speak later, okay? Sorry if
Sure.
it's
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
thanks.
Yeah, maybe
Thanks,
a
bro.
few examples might help me understand better, I guess.
Yeah, let's connect later. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll reach out to you.
If you have all of you filled the poll, we have
Uh,
um,
11 uh, feedbacks. So can others also please fill it so that it's uh, helpful for us in future. And
these are
once you fill the poll, and if you don't have any questions, feel free to drop off.
at any point, if you have any questions, you know how to reach us on Discord. We can pick this up there. Right. On this note, thank you guys. Have a great day. Happy weekend and welcome to the AI world.
Thanks,
Uful
Gautam.
Gokul, Anjana, Irazia.
Gautam, I have a costing related question.